Welcome to another edition to Motivational Sundays with Kevin and friends. I'm going to tell you the whole gang is here. My name is Kevin McLemore. I am your show host. I am joined with some beautiful, highly intelligent people that's just going to blow you away with this quote today. This show was originally created from one of the more than 300 quotes I had created for the contents of my books. I got together with my co-hosts, Christopher and Gilda, Peter, and Jessica, the voice of our show, Otis Spencer, Mr. McRoy, and then Lanez, Francis, and then Lois and Naheem. And we said, you know something, we got to do a little bit more with this show. What do these quotes mean? Based on the interpretation and our perception, we created this show. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And each week, one of us brings in a quote, either something we've created, something that we've been carrying with us. And based on interpretation and perspective, we talk about these quotes. Sometimes conversation is extremely heavy. Sometimes, we laugh our butts off. And we thank everyone for joining us. And so today, I want to welcome in, our quote, and that's going to be brought to you by our voice of the show, Mr. Otis Spencer. What's the quote for the day, brother?
Good morning, everyone. This morning's quote is procrastination is the biggest thief of profit.
Oh, procrastination is the biggest thief of profit. Good thing I didn't think about doing the show because none of us would be here. So I am so curious of how this is going to land. Mr. Harrell, since you brought the quote, let's talk about the thief in the room.
Well, first, good day, everybody. It's always
Hey,
a pleasure to see these faces.
all right.
I once worked on Wall Street. This was maybe 2 to 3 lifetimes ago, and high pressured sales volume. We did cold calls. We did cold calls. So I would receive a stack of leads, Dun& Bradstreet leads, and I'd sit there and just flip through these cards, calling these businesses, just flipping through the cards, calling businesses. There were days where I would get 600 dials. Out of 600 dials, I may make 50 connections with people, and of the 50 connections, in most cases, I'd get 49 no's. And then ultimately you find the one yes, and the one yes is the one that you're looking for. But in this process, you're on top of your game. And we have a sales pitch, straight line, rebuttals. And a lot of the rebuttals are basically canned lines. And in this environment, you hear different things taking place. And one of them, one rebuttal to an objection is procrastination is the biggest thief of profits. So usually if you're going for a close and someone says, well, listen, I can't do it now, but let me speak to my wife. And then you would come back with the line. And one of them would be, well, look, stock market is like time. It waits for no man. Procrastination is the biggest thief of profits. So, the way stock works, I'm sure everyone here knows, if you buy a stock and by the end of the day, the price could be a totally different price. So you want to get in at the best price. The longer you wait, the more you might miss that grand opportunity to get in low. And we'll use the word procrastination in an effort to sell. Why procrastinate? Why put off for tomorrow what you could do today? You look up tomorrow, the stock will have doubled if you don't move on it now. And I do believe that procrastination is something that we all tend to dabble in. And it rears its ugly head in my life quite often. And it's just something that you yourself have to know yourself and have to learn how to overcome. Putting off for later or putting off for tomorrow what you could do today. Because as the stock market, what are you waiting for? The price of the stock to double? Conditions will never be ideal, will never be perfect. So you have to make a move when you can, because if you don't, you never know when you'll get the next opportunity to make the move. I have a friend that she quite often speaks of um, self-sabotage and success avoidance. And procrastination are the elements that make up self-sabotage and success avoidance. So when the opportunity comes, get on the horse and ride. Don't wait, because now is the only time that exists. The past is gone, the future is yet to come. So now is the only time that exists.
And now is the only time it exists, because moments definitely do matter. I'm just curious, going from Wall Street to Miss Lois Campbell, just curious how procrastination will basically land on her. So, Miss Lois Campbell, how does this quote land on you? Procrastination is the biggest thief of profit.
Good morning to everyone. I'm happy to be here for my second time. I really appreciate it. I was hoping to be not so early on this, but it's fine. So procrastination, the biggest thief of profits, is a big topic, because I'm sure all of us at sometimes in our lives have procrastinated small things, but it gets bigger when it's things that are important to us that we tend to procrastinate on. I had braids in last week, and I've been trying to take them out for a while, and I've been procrastinating. Now they're out. I'm happy. So on the bigger picture is because I'm always looking at a bigger picture. It's there are two sides to it. I see a negative to procrastination, and I see a positive, because a lot of us maybe always be focusing on the negative of procrastinating. It's not good. It's not good. And like we spoke before, God answers in three ways: yes, no, and wait. So I could look at it as God saying to me, not now, or wait, or jump on it. And Harold spoke about Wall Street. Yeah, the other side of it is it could go down and it could go up as well. So today we say, okay, jump on it. It's likely that the stocks are going to go up, but it could go down. So you could personalize it and say, okay, I'm going to just do it my way and see how it plays out. But procrastination does have a lot of negative connotations, or a lot of negative sides to it. Sometimes you see an opportunity, or you're waiting for something, and you let that opportunity pass you by, or you have a deadline for something. You say, okay, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Sometimes tomorrow never comes. So it's your personal thing. How do you want to move forward with procrastination? How is it going to affect you? My job say get to work at 8:30. What are the consequences if I get there at 9 o'clock? What do I miss? So you have to personalize that and say, okay, I'm going to use this in a positive way. And some of the other side of the procrastination is maybe this is not your time. Maybe you want to rethink or relook at the situation, that, why now as opposed to tomorrow. So for me, I could look at it from two angles, positives and the negatives. Thank you.
And when you think about procrastination outside of the stock market and in life, you think about it. Today is yesterday's tomorrow. We have to think about it. Whatever you did yesterday, you cannot come back and edit. You cannot rewrite. You can't take it back, and whatever, it becomes part of your history. Whatever you dream about tomorrow, we call it goals and whatever, you have no control over.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Yes.
woulda, coulda, shoulda, wanna do, should have done, or whatever, only actually matters if you actually do it today. But if you don't do it, you don't get it back. So I just want to say, this is going to come strange when you ask a Chippendale, a question when you're just born with naturally good looks and you're standing up and you're going to ask a man that has it all an intelligent question. I am so curious what Peter Chichester is going to say, my co-host. Um, Peter, how does procrastination, why is it the biggest thief of profit? And that could be emotional profit. Doesn't always have to go on your bank account. Let's hear what you've got to say.
I got the quote in the beginning of the week, and I really meant to really dive into it and write something down that's meaningful, but I just kept on pushing it off. So, but so I appreciate coming behind Lois and Harold and Quick in this, because there's so many nuggets of great information that goes on throughout the day here. And I'm trying to take notes on it all. And by the end, my thing will be like 4 pages long. So I'm glad to be third here. So, to kind of go with what's been said already, define profit. What is it, right? Is it just money, right? Is it mental health? Is it clarity? What is profit? But, with Lois talking about God's voice of yes, no, or wait, we're not God, right? So, if I have something that comes on my desk, or if it's a vision in my head of something that I should be doing for my own better good, right? So if it's something, I have to test all things, right? But if I generally think it's for my good, right? And to put it off, right, makes no sense, right? So if it's just a project, it doesn't matter if it's cutting the lawn, right? And I don't want to do it, and I push it off. Right now, the lawn gets worse. Right now, I can't mow it myself because my mower won't do it. So everything affects by waiting off on something that is for your own good. And it kind of ties into, like I said, Lois said, and everyone here has a procrastination story, right? And the story I like to go back to, which is not my own, right? It's a universal story, but it's, the man's on his deathbed, right? And he's surrounded by all his unkept, his unfulfilled dreams, and all the dreams come to him, and he's sitting there and they're going, we came to you, we relied on you to make us real, and it's the regrets, right? It's all his haunting regrets because he procrastinated his life and never fulfilled the purpose that God put in his mind, right? Or his ideas. So I don't want that to be me. I don't want that to be anybody. So with that, don't procrastinate on things that are good for you or will be for your own good.
Yeah, and putting off for tomorrow has never had any type of return on your investment, be it financial or emotional. So, this is someone, we've got a couple people that see or are more connected to the universe than most of us, and some of us are connected and don't even know we're connected. So we're going to plug into Francine to see how this quote lands on her. Francine, how does this
Good
quote
morning,
land on you?
everyone. So I do get images of cartoons and like very strong graphic images whenever I do my readings. So because of the solar eclipse and whatever, so this is what I'm going to talk about. Once upon a time, a hero named Flash Gordon lived in a galaxy far, far away. He was known for his courage and his readiness to face any challenge. He didn't hesitate to act when he learned about the evil warlord Ming on his other planet. And Ming wanted to totally destroy the Earth with his weather machine. So basically, without wasting any time, he armed himself with his trusty laser gun and set out to save our planet from certain doom. Okay. So imagine he's, racing and he's like, dun, 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 he's going through the whole galaxy. And as Flash traveled through the galaxy, he encountered many obstacles. And he was constantly tested because there were constantly things being thrown at him, including asteroids, black holes that were trying to suck him in. Also, there were space pirates. So they were trying to get his attention because basically Flash Gordon was ADD and ADHD, like a lot of us here, right? But he kept on going and going. So he finally winds up at Ming's fortress. And he found this evil warlord with his weather machine. Ha ha ha. And the warlord Ming says, "You're not going to win. I'm going to be the champion of this because the earth is going to explode." And And without any ado, Flash basically takes his trusty laser gun, shoots him, and defeats Ming. Da da da! And he saved Earth from the doom. And I know this, everyone's looking at me like I'm crazy, but okay.
You're right.
Okay, well, thank you. It's a little humor.
Just all the black people are looking at you like crazy. We have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Well, there was a movie in the 80s that I grew up on called Flash Gordon, and they had Queen in the background singing Flash Gordon. Na, na.
He's a miracle.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, it was very bad special effects, but it was a great movie. So Flash, basically the moral of the story, Flash Gordon had no time for procrastination. He was always busy being a hero and facing challenges head on. So let us take inspiration from him and avoid procrastinating. When we have important tasks to accomplish, we all have the potential to be heroes and save the day for ourselves and for others. The other thing is, I think that we should all channel him, and this way we can eliminate the procrastination from our lives. And if anything else fails, we can always go get ice cream. So I just had to throw that in.
You know something? I always like that. I always say when you get upset and you don't have an answer, eat cake. But I'll take well, I'm lactose intolerant. I'll take you guys out for ice cream. So that is so cool. And I didn't want to offend anyone, but I just thought it was a great opening because we all had that look like, all right, where's it going to go and whatever, except for Otis connected with it. So we
I used to watch
know
the series.
Yeah.
So we just had the eclipse. We just had the eclipse too.
Wait a minute.
So it all goes together.
You and Otis probably, you guys are rich because I didn't have TV back then when Flash Gordon came out. The only way I was able to see Flash Gordon if I went by my neighbor's house and they had the window open, and then when they saw me, I had to leave. So that's all right.
Thank you so much, guys.
No, that's funny. That's gonna be hard to follow. I'm so glad I'm not following you. But Christopher had a great conversation earlier and a great quote from his pastor. And Otis, if you don't mind, before we go to Christopher, can you, for our listeners that just tuned in or just downloaded the podcast, give us the quote again real quick? I love his voice, by the way. Love his
Absolutely.
voice.
Procrastination is the thief of profits.
It is the thief. Christopher. And again, I'll say this every single week. Thank you for service and for all of our panel members that have served this country to make this country what it is, to give us these privileges and its rights, no matter how much we agree with them or disagree with them. We are probably the better part of this planet of people, depending on what day you are. But I say I wouldn't rather be with any place else than other with all these wonderful people that I share this time and space with. So, Christopher, how does this quote land on you?
This quote is probably one of the oldest quotes that I've ever come across, and it's because it's taken so many different forms. But as Kevin and I were talking earlier, our grandparents had this quote, slightly changed and altered through time. At the time, procrastination was most likely that crusty film that developed around the toilet seat if you didn't scrub it. So we didn't know what procrastination was. But the term coulda, woulda, shoulda is what we used for procrastination. And whether it's for profit or for just being where you needed to be. I've always looked at procrastination as the prelude to regret. In other words, Kevin talked about the future self, where you look back and say what you should have done. And oh man, I absolutely loved what Peter said about the man in his deathbed and all of his dreams around him saying, why didn't you act upon us? Regret, I really feel, is the prelude. Procrastination, I really feel, is the prelude to regret. So I've always looked at situations from a future point of view. How am I going to handle this? How am I going to respond to this regret later on? And so, yeah. And as far as that's That's my response to the quote. As far as what Kevin and I talked about a saying that my preacher gave me, which doesn't necessarily tie into this, but it's still a great, great quote. Pastor said, a man who, oh God, now I can't even say it, Kevin. I'm sorry.
That's a small package.
Yes, a man who wraps himself up in himself creates a very small package.
A man that wraps himself up in himself creates a very small package.
Small,
And that's what these are all wonderful
yeah.
gifts. The content on here is such at a high level. This is the reason why we do this show. And believe it or not, if it had not been for my son, because I wanted to make this show perfect, I kept putting it off until I had it all lined up, had all my people together. And my son said, "Dad, how do you learn to swim?" And I said, "Hire a coach." He says, "No, you get in the water." He goes, when you decide you don't want to drown, you start flailing your arms or whatever. And wherever you get the closest to shore, pull yourself out and get started. So that's how this show started. And without Naheem, all of you guys wouldn't be here. Without Larnez, some of the new people wouldn't be here. And without our voice, this show would never be heard. So we are lucky enough to have two people on our show that are connected to this energy that we have more so than anybody else. So, when I turn it over to, I know you people are looking at her, and I've said this before, and people are still Googling, her music history on the show. But, Gloria Estefan, we got you here, and one day we'll get you to perform. But, she's going by our show named Jessica Chichester. How you doing, Jessica?
Hi, good morning. Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday.
All right.
It's a beautiful way to start off. And so many different trains of thought on here. It was amazing. But right before we got started, I really resonated what Lois said. So actually, I resonated with what Peter said too, because when I first heard the quote, I was procrastinating on it. I'm like, what is this quote driving up in me? And so, like, when I first encountered this quote this week, actually, this didn't come to me about till like 10 minutes before the show when I was doing red light therapy. But when I first encountered the quote, it prompted this rapid reflection of my life and making me question, okay, where have I been procrastinating? And this introspection actually brought on some anxiety. I don't know about you guys, but that's what it did for me. And spurring me to intensify my efforts in certain areas, right? And then as I pondered further and I took a step back, I realized that the opposite of procrastination is impulsivity, which is also very detrimental. So procrastination is also often seen as personal failing, right? It's subjective. But impulsivity, which I have a tendency, I'm recovering impulsivity person.
That's shopping.
Is also detrimental. So procrastination. So this realization led me to a surprising conclusion that in general, I just really dislike this quote. And because growing up, right, I remember high school, I procrastinated with everything. I almost failed out of high school. And when it came time for college, I couldn't, it was back in the day, so not everybody got an award, okay? I couldn't get into any college. And I went locally, right, to the local community college. My brother got accepted into all three academies. And I said finally, so he went to the Air Force Academy. Finally, I said to my parents, I'm like, okay, well, my grades are good. Let me go to all these schools in California. And they were like, great, we don't have money. So that's on you. And I realized I need to do this. I need to work hard and I need to do this. And I went into this. That was my first phase of my life of having a relentless drive, going from failing out of high school to now I have 7 college degrees, right? And then I was teaching for 20 years. But even with that success, I learned a lot. But at times, it cost me parts of my well-being. And it cost me other aspects of time. So now I don't actually subscribe to the notions of procrastination and impulsivity. And instead, I believe in the true issue that lies with the lack of presence. So, what did I say? Non-presence leads to a lack of profits. If we're completely present in our situation, we don't have all these thoughts and these old hangups. Oh, that I don't deserve that. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh my God, it's not ready enough. I can't do this. If I don't subscribe to those notions, and I stay present, then I can be profitable on any scale. I can strike when the iron is hot. I can move like water, and we can be adaptable and flexible and not miss the opportunities regardless of punctuality. And so God says that too. He'll make up for the years that we lost. So sometimes procrastinating was actually a gift. And so I would say presence is the key to seizing opportunity. And that's how that quote lands on me.
That was powerful. To take a basic thought and then also to make us think there. You know, I've said this before, education is not designed to make us comfortable, it's designed to make us think. And guess what you did? I'm thinking, because I have never heard that word until today. So I'm going to write that down before Naheem starts to use it against me one day. Because I know how Naheem is. That's my conscience. That's my brother from another mother. I love that man. Naheem, how does this quote land on you? And by the way, you're looking good today. I like the way the little salt and pepper thing looks. You look like a grown up today. All right.
Yeah, that was procrastinating shaving. Procrastination is waiting. For example, I have been an actor all my life, but I never embraced my career until about really 7 years ago when I decided to have my own business, freelancing, blah, blah, blah. The key about procrastination was, as an actor, was if I was more aggressive when I was younger, I might have been able to do a lot of things that I can't do now. So as you procrastinate on, I'll get to it, I'll get to it, I'll get to it, time does pass. And time does pass. And when time passes, you miss out. Yes, I have achieved quite a bit and have more to achieve, but I've also, through my procrastination, have lost quite a bit. And have lost the momentum to do a lot of things that I could do. Like, for example, I think I'm going to go vegetarian again. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Next thing you know, diabetes kicks in, high blood pressure kicks in, all these other things kick in because you didn't jump on your decision to take care of yourself early enough. Not that I have diabetes, thank God I don't, but I do have high cholesterol, which is an issue. So my point is, procrastination is a time stealer. And if you don't jump on what you need to at the time you need to, as the line I says, Elmore said in the line, if everything goes the way it's supposed to go, you will find out something else if you're willing and need to know.
You know, with all of us on here, you think it can't get any better. This is like turning the page to a great book, and every page has a different story, but it captures you. You know how you think, I'm just only going to read so many pages of this book and I'll get to it tomorrow. And then all of a sudden you turn the page, a new chapter, you go, all right, let me just read a couple more pages. This is the way I'm feeling right now. You guys got me. You guys got me. And Larnez, I'm gonna turn the page to this story and see how this lands on you and Naheem and Jessica and everyone else before you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys not only complete me, you give me a reason to tell another story.
Well, you want me to follow that?
You know something? I'm the one in fear. I can't follow any of you guys because I looked at the note. I made notes today, and I'm looking at them going, I ain't gonna say that. I can't follow that. Oh, they said that. I didn't even think of that. I mean, Jessica gave me a word I'd never heard, and I read all the time. So, impulsivity, however it is, I'm going to get me some of that.
Okay. So you've got goals, dreams, and aspirations, right? But every time you put off taking action, you're basically letting those dreams slip through your fingers. You've got an amazing idea, something that could really make a difference and bring some serious cash flow to you. But instead of diving in and making it happen, you're hitting the snooze button on your dreams. Well, guess what? Procrastination loves when you hit the snooze button. It's like an open invitation to come in and steal all the profits. So here's the deal. Don't let procrastination play you like that. Don't let it steal your shine or rob you of your potential profits. It's time to take charge, get focused, and make those dreams a reality. And when you do, you're not just talking about profits anymore. You're making moves, you're securing the bag. So let's hustle hard and make those dreams happen because ain't nobody got no time for no procrastination. That's how this hit me.
True that. And like I said, all the notes that I made, all right, you guys have destroyed every single comment that I had thought I had before this. And Gilda, I apologize because you got a lot to carry on, because I will tell you this, because we've hit on all these notes and you said it better about your dream. You know, there was a young man, 24, 25 years old. I know he was under 25, that stood in front of our Capitol building. And we all celebrate him every single year, celebrate his birthday. He just lost one of his sons. And because of him, people like myself and like all of us and women have an opportunity to have our voice, Dr. Martin Luther King. But I also think about that one day. What if he had gotten up that morning, on that day he wrote that famous speech, I Had a Dream, and he says, I'm going to sleep in 5 more minutes. What if he probably didn't have an Uber or Yelp or anything at that time? What if he had made arrangements for that car to pick him up? And he goes, you know something? I'm going to sit here and talk a little bit and make some notes and whatever, and never got into that car. And the 250,000 people, what if they had waited 30 minutes longer? He never showed up because he got stuck in traffic. What do you think would have happened to all of us if Dr. King had hit the snooze button? We'd have never seen that I Have a Dream speech. We'd have never seen some of the most greatest products that we've had that changed our life. We'd have never had a conversation for all of us showed up to watch our dear beloved brother repeat the words and bring the words alive to a famous playwright if he had decided to write it tomorrow. You think about it. Peter said it the best. You know, don't wake up one morning and realize you had a life that is coming to an end that you did not live because you kept putting it off for maybe when. So, Gilda, all right. I love you, girl. And look at them. You can, like I said, we got 2 beautiful couples here side by side. Peter and Jessica didn't get the note to dress alike today, but we'll get you next week. Look at them in blue. That is my favorite color. And Gilda, how does this quote land on you?
You said it all, Kevin. I don't have to add anything. Everyone did such a beautiful job. You all did well, and I agree with you.
Everyone gets a
100%.
star.
Yeah, everyone gets a star.
Everyone gets a star today.
Right.
All right. So I don't
Short
think
and sweet as always.
he is. She is. And look at that $1 million smile. Look at that. Beautiful people, all beautiful people on this show. My friends, my families, my brothers and sisters from another mother. We are all shared in the same space. We all share the same energy together, and we all share the same dream. And for the man that has plenty, when they say your cup is either half empty or half full, when you got a voice like Otis Spencer, your cup is running over. Otis, one more time with a quote and give us your take on it.
Absolutely. Procrastination is the biggest thief of profits. And my take on it is you need to have a dream, a desire. You need to create an action plan and how you're going to achieve it, even if it's baby steps, because unless you do something, you'll be stuck in a rut and you're going nowhere. And that's how it landed on me.
And that's the thief of profit, emotionally profit, way to go. And you're going nowhere. In order to get to someplace, it's the reason why God gave you legs, the reason why he gave you hands, the reason why he gave you a mind. He gave you a pair of everything. All right. Even in life, he pairs you up to someone, no matter what your choice is, in order to get you from where you are to where you need to go. So, Otis, I appreciate that quote. So now the burden lies on me, on how do I, based on my interpretation and perception, and this is so heavy to carry. But listening to you guys and thinking about this, my life would have been totally different if my father had not been a student of this quote. Procrastination is the biggest thief of profit. For my whole entire life, I loved working on cars. And my father always talked about what he was going to do, when he was going to do it. And he talked about, he always wanted to have an automobile shop where he customized cars. And one day, about a block away from our house, a gas station went out of business, and it was close. It was perfect. My father talked about going out and buying it, but he never bought it. And I always said when I had my children that one thing that my kids would never, ever complain about me is that you'll never hear me talk about what I'm going to do. My kids will always talk about what I'm doing. So procrastination is not a close relative. It's not a close friend to me. I don't attach what I do to profit because I'm emotionally connected to the universe for a higher purpose. When I talk to people and people put it off, saying I got to talk to my wife, I'm going to do something tomorrow. The time is not right. When it gets done, when I have more freedom, and when I do this, I'm going to do that. I always have to rely on the fact that we all have something we share, chance and choice. The other thing that's equal to us is time. 86,400 seconds in a day. There's 186 hours in a week, 52 weeks in a year, 365 days. Ask yourself, what is more important to you? What you're planning to do tomorrow? What if tomorrow never comes? What happens to you yesterday? I said this earlier. You don't get a do-over. Can't go back and edit it. You can't take back whatever you said or whatever you did. And whatever your answer and whatever the reason, please keep this in mind. A good friend of mine, Dave Sanders, said, as he was deciding to either get off a plane that landed in the Hudson or to help people off, he said, moments matter. Life happens in seconds. When the young man told me that he was all prepared, that in the event that this was his last day on earth, he had taken and recorded a message to his wife and his children. And he had learned that when your body gets blown up, your torso stays intact. And he had put in a plastic bag his cell phone and put it in his underwear, because that way he knew his wife and his kids will get that. And lucky for him, it wasn't his time when God said when. So tomorrow is the future. It does not exist. Yesterday is history. Today, based on your chance and your choices, is the only thing that matters. So moments do matter. So procrastination is the biggest thief of life. So with that said, I want to thank everyone for joining us on this Sunday. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is probably the only podcast that we welcome in, our listeners. You want to come in and participate? Just keep in mind, we show up on time. We start on time. Everyone's on camera. Everyone participates. We laugh. We joke, and we're not easily offended. But we do this because we love you. We do this because we love each other. We do this because we're not always politically correct. And we do this because we are honest with ourselves, and we share that with the world. So with that said, my grandfather always said, education is not designed to make you comfortable. It's designed to make you think. So with that said, when you get to a point you can help someone else out, it is your duty to do so. Reach one, teach one. And without that saying, I love this man's voice. We do what?
Fade to black.
And we fade to black and we're out. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, peace.